LILshavers.com.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community. The following is a paid program that does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning and welcome to Heart Mooresville, your small town radio show with a big heart. We're excited to be here this morning because number one, the weather is absolutely gorgeous this week.
Drum roll, please. Yes, this is spring.
We are here.
Yeah, and not for everybody though, because I have friends across the country and they're like, spring, it's snowing.
I know. Even a couple hours up north in Virginia, my family, they're like, it's cold here. I'm like, we're living the life down here in North Carolina. It's gorgeous.
If you don't like the weather here, wait.
No. And then number two reason, because we're so excited to be here, is because we have a special guest, Miss Maria Campagne, this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Maria is actually she's part of our team, Parks and Recreation, as the visual arts instructor. So we're very excited to talk with her today.
Wait. We must preface this correctly.
Oh.
The award-winning visual arts instructor. Let's make sure we don't forget that.
Can't leave that out.
Yes.
No.
So we're super excited to have you here. We want to talk about all things art, and as it relates to not only Parks and Recreation, but Mooresville in general. I think, for us, it's important that we educate the public about things that we do and the way that they can enrich their lives with some of the things that Parks and Recreation does. But, as a community, Mooresville has embraced the arts, and there's a growing arts scene in Mooresville, and I'm sure you can elaborate and tell us more about that. So,
yeah, we really do have this. I think people don't realize that we have this little scene here in Mooresville now. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about that.
It's getting there.
It's growing.
It's
very excited. Well, I am bringing you the headlines. I've been scanning the headlines. I'm bringing you the news
and
for
this is
our
called
segment.
In the News.
In the News. So first off, we had a big announcement recently.
Do tell.
All right. So Mooresville they've chosen a new town manager.
All right.
That's right. So of course, Randy Heeman, her predecessor, Randy Heeman, is, left us a couple months ago, went to Tennessee and accepted a position there. We are about to have our first female town manager.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think that's a pretty big thing to celebrate. Super excited about that. Her name's Tracy Jerome. The board unanimously voted her in on Monday evening, voted to hire her. She actually comes to us from the city of El Paso, Texas. She was the senior deputy city manager there. She'll actually begin her full duties on April 29th. But she was around yesterday kind of meeting everybody. So I think we'll see her a little bit here and there. But officially her duties start April 29th.
El Paso, huh?
El Paso.
Well, we'll have to see if she brings a little bit of Western flair with her. Maybe a twang. I don't know. I haven't met her. And maybe some boots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Looking for some good boots.
Boots at City Hall. Not saying that's going to happen, but
welcome, Tracy Jerome. We're very excited to have you as our new town manager.
Well, and it's interesting too that you talk about our first female town manager. We also have a female assistant town manager.
We do. We have had another a female assistant town manager before. So Sharisha Hills is not the first, but it is exciting to, see females in some of those positions, in leadership positions within our town. And, unfortunately, sometimes it takes a while to get there. But
of course, we couldn't say that without a big shout out to our boss lady.
Oh yeah,
Pam Reedy.
We are a woman-led department as well.
Director of Parks and Recreation. So hello, Pam, if you're listening.
While we're very excited about that, I also have to tell you and give you a little follow-up on the peanut butter conversation that we had a couple weeks ago.
Which was hilarious if you missed it, by the way.
So I don't know if you know, but peanut butter is actually one of the least donated items to, food pantries. It's one that it's great because it has a long shelf life. It has a ton of nutritional value. Of course, peanut butter has protein, but it's one of those items that are in desperate need. Um, so Lake Norman Regional Medical Center did this huge drive. They called it Jars of Love, to collect peanut butter to deliver to our local, food pantries like Feed and See. And they collected 1,278 jars of peanut butter for Feed and See. That is over 1,400 pounds of
That's a
peanut butter.
lot of peanut butter.
Bill, clap, please. That is amazing. Thanks to the Lake Norman Regional for orchestrating that.
Yeah, that was huge. And I think what makes that so fitting today is that today is actually National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day.
I know, I saw that.
Isn't that awesome?
And I happen to be a big fan of that. So.
Yeah, we're talking about peanut
All
butter
right. Well, the
on Peanut
question
Butter
is
and Jelly Day.
crunchy or creamy?
Oh, crunchy.
Oh, creamy. All
Crunchy.
the way.
Creamy.
Crunchy.
What?
Crunchy. Really?
No,
Why?
It's creamy.
Why?
If I
It's
wanted,
just- I don't want to. No.
No?
I'll just
Okay.
eat peanuts if I want crunch.
Okay.
I need my peanut butter creamy.
Okay, here's another question. Straight out of the jar with a spoon?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any day.
Peanut butter and banana.
Oh gosh, peanut butter and
Yeah,
banana.
yeah.
Okay, guess what I'm having for
I know,
for
I
lunch
know.
tomorrow. I totally
Definitely.
forgot about the peanut butter and banana. I mean, that is like a classic treat.
Do you remember when you were a kid, those little celery sticks, and they used to do ants on a log?
Yes.
And put the peanut butter with the little
Mhm,
raisins? That
mhm.
was like the best snack, if you like celery.
Yeah,
Most
don't-
kids didn't
no.
like the celery.
Yeah.
But I would just lick the peanut butter off and then eat the raisins.
Yeah. I'm right
It's
there
like
with you on
the
that one.
best way to eat that. Okay. So thank you, Lake Norman Regional. That is amazing to be able to collect those items for Feed and See, which does such a vital service to our community. Next up, want to talk about that Iredell County has actually been awarded just under $69,000 to supplement emergency food and shelter efforts in the county. So this is actually pretty cool. There's a selection committee that it's a national board, and it's chaired by some local like Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency, American Red Cross, other nonprofits throughout the state. And they are charged with distributing these funds and figuring out, what charities to give this money to. So you can actually apply right now. You can go. So Liz Burns of United Way of Iredell County is the contact. You can email her at lburns, which is LBURNS at uwiredell.org. The deadline for nonprofits to apply for these funds is April 9th. There's also a phone number listed, but that was, in the paper, the Mooresville Tribune today. But any of our local nonprofits that have these emergency food and shelter programs or have those efforts as part of, what they provide can apply for, to get some of the $69,000. So that's pretty cool that our county's been awarded that money.
Excellent. Well, on a more serious note, there is a campaign coming up called Tie a Tree, which is to bring awareness to child abuse, which is something we're all passionate about. So if you see a tree with blue ribbons tied around it in Iredell County this April, it stands as a reminder of the 3.9 million reports of child abuse in America in 2023. So 6 child-centered agencies in Iredell and Alexander have come together as part of this Tie a Tree campaign to bring awareness to the cause at the heart of their agencies for National Child Abuse Prevention Month, which actually begins in April. So we want to remind everybody, if you see something, say something. And you're encouraged to participate in Wear Blue Day on April 12th and share photos on social media with the hashtag Wear Blue Day 2024, I should say. So downtown Statesville will be turning to the Bollard blue lights for the month of April. And so if you see that, you will understand exactly why. So again, Tie a Tree in campaign in April. So we will have more when we get back after this break here on Heart Mooresville on WSIC.
An eye on through at least midday Wednesday. Then we're clearing it out by Thursday, much cooler and breezy with high temperatures only in the upper 50s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. This Friday, come enjoy Birkdale's first Live Under the Oaks concert for 2024. Danny Carr and the Skeleton Crew will break in the Birkdale stage for the concert season. Bring your lawn chairs to Huntersville and come early. Music powered by Waves Entertainment begins at 6 p.m. Come out and have an amazing time in Mooresville with a weekend doubleheader. On Friday, Uncorked and Artsy returns from 5:30 to 9 p.m. featuring wine and craft beer tastings and an art walk display. Then Saturday marks the beginning of the 2024 Festival of Food Truck Series. Information is available at downtownmooresville.com. The Kane Center for the Arts hosts 4 big shows in 3 days. Thursday, April 11th, sees singer and guitarist Joni Shaw Taylor performing. Doors open at 7 p.m. The show begins at 8 p.m. Friday, April 12th, 80s music icon John Oates performs. Doors also open at 7 p.m. with the show beginning at 8 p.m. On Saturday, April 13th, comedian Jeff Allen delivers laughs at a 4 p.m. matinee and then again at 8 p.m. Saturday night. For more information on these shows and many other programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Merle Fest is back April 25th through 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen every morning to Good Morning LKN and follow WSIC News on Instagram for your chance to win tickets. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Make radio great again. Hey, WSIC, this is Todd Starnes. The Make Radio Great Again tour is stopping in Statesville on May 24th.
It's gonna hit the shade.
Join me for a book signing and meet and greet.
That's us, that's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Sign up to meet Todd Starnes now at WSICnews.com/Todd.
Come visit with us on May 24th at the WSIC studio in Statesville.
Call now to speak with Heart Mooresville hosts Christine Patterson and Don Smyle at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Heart Mooresville on WSIC.
All right. Welcome back to Heart Mooresville here on WSIC. I am your host, Don Smyle, joined by my co-host, Christine Patterson, and our special guest, Maria Campagne, who is our award-winning artist and at the Mooresville Parks and Recreation Department. And we are thrilled to have you here to talk to us about all things art.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
And you had mentioned during break, we were talking just before break about Child Abuse Prevention Month. And the blue that you'll start to see around the local communities. And you had mentioned something to us about that.
Yeah, the city of Troutman, they have a greenway space that used to be an old rail line, and they have a sign up, and their tree is already up. And I was able to see real quick just driving by the sign, and I didn't realize it was this whole entire month. So that's great information. I hope to see them coming around Mooresville soon.
Excellent. So as we mentioned, you are our award-winning resident artist. So tell us.
He's not going to stop saying that.
I'm not going to say that because she's earned it. I mean, come on.
That's right.
If you've earned that accreditation, then it's only right that you would be acknowledged for that.
Thank you.
So we appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about Maria, kind of, what sparked your interest in art and, how this journey that you've, led you to where you are now.
So I think as many artists, we are artists from the start. It's not that you just come into it. We all hear the stories of the person, especially someone like Grandma Moses. She didn't start painting till she was 70 or 80?
Right.
And we do hear those stories, but that's few and far between. Most people that I know that are artists, professional or hobby artists, it's always something they've done. I can remember as a very young child, that is what I wanted. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to have a big, lofty kind of studio space and just create.
So what was it that sparked that interest? Was it something you saw, somebody you saw? I mean, what was it that kind of piqued that interest in you as a child?
I really don't have an exact pinpoint. My mother and grandmother were big sewists, and they did the crafty kind of things like cross stitch. We didn't do a lot of other things, but they would definitely. My grandmother sewed all of her clothes because she had to.
Right, right.
And sewed for her kids, and my mom sewed for me. And so I think just kind of having that always in the background. My one aunt was a painter, but I didn't realize that till later on in my life, that she painted. And my one cousin, well, I got two cousins who are fairly artistic. So, but my one cousin, he's an amazing artist over in Oxford, North Carolina.
So maybe it runs in the Campagna family. Artistic.
There's really, I think if you have that inclination and you have someone to help you, especially as a young artist, that it does help. Like if I was steered in a different direction on a constant basis, I think that would have changed the trajectory.
Right.
I can't say that word now.
Trajectory.
Thank you of my life. But however, one of my most amazing gifts that was ever given to me was my drawing table. I got that at 16. It's this beautiful piece of wood, and I still have it. It's traveled many a miles and many a moving trucks to get to where it is in my studio. But I think I had a little bit of help from my family. No one was a big like, hey, you need to go and be an artist. That definitely wasn't it. They were all like, how are you going to make money?
Right.
How are you going to live?
So did you spend a lot of time doodling on the walls?
I doodled a lot.
Yeah.
Not as much on the walls.
Yeah.
I would have loved to. But yeah, I was able to spend some of my free time doing that. I wasn't pushed to do other things. So
Now,
Yeah.
did you? Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Did you grow up in Mooresville?
no, I grew up in Matthews, little town south of here.
So not
Actually,
far.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
local.
yeah.
So, you mentioned, Christine, running in the family. And my mother actually was an artist and taught art at a college. And I remember as a child seeing her drawings and things and being interested in that medium. And, as years went by, I kind of drifted away from that. But what it instilled in me was this sense of creativity, which I've now kind of channeled through photography. So I'm a big photography buff, and I love to go take pictures. And I've kind of rediscovered that passion, and it really becomes something that you can't control. It is a part of you that you have to express, right?
Yeah.
It is. And I, every now and again, I quietly, in the throes of my own torture chamber, called my studio, every now and again threaten to like, I'm going to give this up. And then something happens, something sparks my joy. I get a sale of a piece, or I get a commission, or I get awarded a grant, whatever it is. And then it's like, but then I couldn't do anything else. Like, I don't understand how people are ever bored. I'm never bored. Like, I always have a sketchbook. I always have something with me. I always am thinking about, well, what is this? How
Right,
could I
right.
make this?
Yeah,
How-
I'm the same way with photography. I find myself literally pulling over on the side of the road to take a photo of something I see because I don't want to miss that moment.
Yes.
And the same thing with you as an artist, you get that inspiration and you have to have an outlet for that. You talk about your sketchbook,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and that's funny because I think I've never considered myself artistic in the drawing sense, but I think I am in a writing sense. So for me, it's like creative writing. It's songwriting, poetry. I've always written poetry. I have notebooks from when I was a kid of just things I would write down, and hearing you pull over and you have to take that picture. For me, I have notes on my phone of things like just phrases or things that I have to write down.
Right.
It's like you have the outlet.
And I think that's very interesting. You get three people here that are creative in their own right, in their own media. I don't understand photography. Like, I can look at it and go, dang, that's a beautiful shot. Or how did they get that? I don't know anything about how to work a camera. I don't know any of that. I can give you the reasons why I think a photograph is a good photograph. I can give you, the composition and the color and
Right.
and like with writing and poetry, dude, I love going to poetry sessions, but I cannot write. I wonder sometimes like how people do that, how they can come up with that. And I know people do the same with me. They're like, how did you just paint that?
Well, I think
just
that's
did.
that's true though, because we have a specific sense of a media that we like. But I think more people would probably say the same thing about you when they look at your art and go, I can't do that. How did you do that? Right.
Yeah.
And so everybody has that spark of creativity. It's just a matter of whether they pursue it.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, when they're younger, maybe are steered in different directions,
Yes.
To become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. But those passions and those creativities never leave.
No, they don't.
And they never left me for many years. And I started to understand that, guess what? When I leave on Friday, when I go back to Monday, the work is still going to be there. So what else can I do to still enjoy life outside of that? One of the things that I had written down here was the definition of arts. And this is going to be a big topic, I think. But Webster's defines the arts as painting, sculpture, music, literature, and other things considered as a group of activities done by people with skills and imagination. And while the arts refer to the ways of doing or the application of human creative skills, typically in visual form, the arts are the various practices formed by human creativity and imagination.
I love that.
Mm.
And it lists some of those typical types of things that people, would associate with arts: architecture, ceramics, conceptual art, drawing, painting, photography. Yeah, hey, I like that one. Sculpture, literary arts, performing arts, dance, music, theater, and actually video games.
Yes.
Creation
I
of,
never
right?
thought
there's
about that.
Yeah, there's a big industry for that. There are actually several schools I've heard of. I don't know anything about them, so don't ask. Around the United States and abroad, that it's video game artists. Like they come up with
Right.
all the backgrounds.
The
I don't play
visuals.
them, so I can't
Right.
give any details. But I have seen some of them. Yeah, there are artists that do that.
Well, I think, a lot of people wouldn't associate some of these things with the arts. I think there's this general perception that arts is painting or sculpture
Right.
or, something like that. Whereas, you think of architecture,
Landscape design.
landscape design, right?
I love when I teach kids and I'm like, okay, here, what do you think art is? Like, or an artist can do. I know an artist, he was an artist here in Charlotte, or not here, in Charlotte. He is now working for Lego.
Oh,
That's,
it's gonna
yeah,
be a fun job.
yeah. He designs like the Lego kits.
Wow. And see, this is what I love about this discussion is I'm learning something, but I think our listeners also learn. And if you're a parent and you have a child, the essence of art takes on different forms.
Exactly.
And they could be artistically inclined in areas that you have thought about. And let's face it, the creation of video games, which is epidemic for the younger generation, playing them, that's a career path.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
And so that's a really interesting thing. Most people think of art and artists as those starving artists. Well,
Right.
Yeah.
that's not true. You can be an artist and still make a pretty good living.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no part of our life that art is not touching. In this room that we're at, we've got a backdrop. It's a wallpaper. That's art.
Right.
The design on your shirts, the fabrics that you wear, the actual clothing that you wear was designed by an artist, a seamstress, a fashion designer.
That's a good point.
So there is no part. If you want to make a car, you got to have an artist do it. You got to have the engineer there too to help.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's all art.
It's in every aspect of our life, I guess is a good way of saying it.
Yes.
So, well, Maria, that is just amazing information. And that's only touching the surface of the conversation we're going to have, because that's really just the beginning of how you got into this. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on now in your life and in Mooresville. And when we come back here on Heart Mooresville, WSIC, we'll be right back after this message from our wonderful sponsors.
As local as Mooresville. Christine Patterson and Don Smyle host Heart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
A warm and mostly dry for our Tuesday as temperatures climb up to around 80 this afternoon with extra clouds. Heading into tonight, though, we'll have to watch the weather a little stronger. Severe thunderstorm possible that could produce a damaging wind gust, and we'll even have the low risk of a tornado to keep an eye on through at least midday Wednesday. Then we're clearing it out by Thursday, much cooler and breezy with high temperatures only in the upper 50s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford Chevrolet in Statesville.
You know Randy Marion is always the place to buy your new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, but how about Randy Marion wants to buy your car? If you have an extra vehicle sitting in your driveway today, come bring them to Randy Marion Chevrolet stores in Statesville. We want to buy it. We will give you top dollar, give you what you're looking for, and get rid of that extra car in the driveway. Come see us today, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville and Randy Marion Ford Lincoln.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Make radio great again.
Hey, WSIC, this is Todd Starnes. The Make Radio Great Again tour is stopping in Statesville on May 24th.
It's gonna hit the shame.
Join me for a book signing and meet and greet.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. Sign up to meet Todd Starnes now at WSICnews.com/Todd.
Come visit with us on May 24th at the WSIC studio in Statesville.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The number of announced job openings in the U.S. was little changed in February from January. So says the Labor Department, suggesting job demand is stabilizing at an elevated level. The number of available positions edged up to more than 8.75 million, mainly reflecting a pickup in finance and state and local governments. The report also shows an increase in hiring. Adidas is blocking the sale of some personalized German football uniforms after people noticed that the design of the number 44 on the uniforms resembles a symbol used by Nazis. German media pointed out that the jagged design of the 44 calls to mind the lightning bolt logo of the SS. Adidas says the German Football Association and its partner are responsible for the design of the numbers on the country's new football jerseys, and not Adidas. Wall Street's indexes down so far today. Dow and S&P 500 each losing 1%. NASDAQ down 1.5%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Looking good, Mooresville. I mean, you're sitting at that traffic light too. Might as well be looking at something. iHeart Mooresville continues now on WSIC.
And we're back with iHeart Mooresville. We are here talking to Maria Campagne about the art community here in Mooresville. And over the break, you were telling us a really cute story about one of your classes, and you had a snowball fight. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's not actually snow because we did it last month, and we haven't had snow here in 2 years, so we didn't have any snow. But we made pom-poms out of yarn. So I had a whole bunch of yarn, and we wrapped them, and the kids tied them, and I told them, I said, make one for yourself and one for me to keep so we can have some extra snowballs on hand. And then after that, by the way, the kids loved it. They were just enthralled that they could do that. It was one of those, I didn't know how it was going to go over kind of moments.
Yeah.
And it went over great. And so we ended up with a snowball fight
That is
inside.
awesome.
Yeah, I got these great tables in my classroom where they tilt up, so we kind of use them as like a little barrier. And we fall.
That is
It's like the
so
modern day
cool.
tent, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you get to do that for your job.
I do. I do.
Doesn't it feel weird to get paid sometimes to do something you love?
It does. It does. I got a project that's getting ready to come up that I'm going to be painting the windows of the concession stands at our parks.
Fun.
So that's one of those fun things. I did it for the South Park community partners down at Christmas time. So they hired 15 different artists to come down and paint some windows on their local businesses. So, of course, my supervisor was like, "Let's do that," and I was like, "Absolutely, I can do that."
Yeah,
Well,
that's
if you've ever seen the Destination Recreation trailer, that is part of the Parks and Recreation Department. The brightly colored trailer, Maria actually created that. So that's original art. That entire trailer was created by Maria. So if you see it, take a picture and hashtag us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful. So.
Well, we were talking a little bit about the art community, and I guess I've been in the Mooresville community for about 15 to 17 years working in Mooresville. Definitely been in the area for a long time, but actually being, having a role here in Mooresville where I felt like contributed, and I've been able to see the art community grow over the last, 15 to 17 years. And I worked for Marriott previously, and the brand of one of our brands of Marriott, the Spring Hill Suites, every brand of Marriott chooses a nonprofit or some sort of organization to help. And Spring Hills was the art community.
Wonderful.
And so we've raised money for art supplies and art programs and gave them back to local schools. And we had every year we had art night events. So we'd bring local artists together and we'd host them in our banquet room and have food and drinks, and people would just come and look at local art and hopefully buy local art and really just to raise awareness in general for the artist community. And so I remember 15 years ago hosting one of those events and meeting the local art community and struggling to find people to come and artists. And then it got so much easier over the years. That first year, I remember how hard of a time I did. And then the next year was much easier. And then the next year. And then we had people on a waiting list. And then we had people reaching out to us. And then so I would say even over the last 10 years, the art community has grown so much. I mean, the members of the Artist Guild have grown. And what do you see? How from your perspective, has that looked like over the last years?
Well, definitely, with the growth of Mooresville in general, you're going to have an influx of a variety of people coming in, right? And some of them happen to be hobby artists, some of them happen to be professional. And yeah, we have gotten a lot more interaction and activity in the arts. I will say that we've got a long way to go. We're starting, but we need lots more. Public art creates space. It defines communities. It brings people together. If you have ever been into NODA in Charlotte, for example, that was an artist community when no one wanted to live in North Davidson. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to live there. And it took the artists who came in and did the co-op galleries that have all now gone to bring people in. So it's interesting that where artists go, people want to go, and then people want to move artists out because it's now become the hip, great place to be.
Right.
So artists are continually moving and adapting because studio space is expensive. And you can't have a studio space currently right now in places like NODA because you just can't afford it.
Right.
So it's interesting to watch as artists come in, how they get moved and shift around. Fortunately, we don't have that problem in Mooresville. We don't have a shift of, moving artists out to make room for an antiquated term, yuppies.
So if I'm hearing what you're saying, which is interesting, I didn't realize this. So places like NODA, people don't want to live there. The artists come in and they create these spaces and these galleries for art expression, and it becomes kind of a cool, hip place.
Yes.
But as a result of that, property values increase and the popularity of the specific space increases and people want to move there. And so ultimately the people who created the space, the artists, get forced out because they can't afford to live there anymore.
Yes.
That's I had never thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
There are many different cities, Charlotte being the closest one, the one I'm more intimately knowing of. But yeah, it happens all the time.
So you mentioned that Mooresville has to do more. In your mind, what are those things?
Well, I think we need to have several. gateway pieces of art for our city. We've got several locations to where, you come into Mooresville and it's like, okay, here you're in our town. We need a piece of art there. We need to have space for art that is free from anything else. A lot of towns or cities use like alleyways, and they will go ahead and put in some art there, and then it becomes a place for people to gather. And there's no reason to gather there except for maybe there are seats and there's art to look at. There's not a baseball field or soccer game going on. So I think we need those kind of spaces.
What's the benefit of gateway art? I'm just curious. Like you mentioned, people come into a location, it's the entry point to a community, and you think that there should be art represented there. Why? What does that do to help a community?
Well, public art gives people the sense of the community. It gives a sense of space. It gives, it's one of those things, it's notoriety to a community, whether it's a little community within inside a larger city. And I think those need to be honored.
It's how I would consider it to be welcoming too, right?
Yes.
You know, you see this and you immediately feel that there's a sense of community associated with it, as opposed to just a sign that says hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I this is a very enlightening discussion. I think I had pulled up some statistics, and I'd love to get some feedback on these. This is a national. These are national numbers, but it says students who study art are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievement and 3 times more likely to be awarded for school attendance. So basically, it's saying that students who study art achieve higher standards and they go to school, which I think is very interesting. It says researchers find that sustained learning in music and theater correlates strongly with higher achievement in math and reading. So I guess that left brain, right brain thing, right? So, and then it says that multiple studies have concluded that curricular and extracurricular art studies keep high-risk dropout students in school.
Well, there are a couple things I can say to that. One, a lot of these students might not have the art supplies at home, so they have to go to school. They've got to get them there.
Right.
They might not have an art-centered parenting, so they've got to find it at school. Artists it's amazing that we are such great problem solvers. We have an idea in our head, and we've got to come up with a way to get that idea, the way we envision it, onto either paper, canvas, or in a 3D sculpture, or, choreography. We've got to figure out a way to do that. So our problem solving skills are extremely high. And that's over probably just trying it. I don't think it's anything that, that is learned, except for the fact you just got to try. So I can understand those statistics being the way they are, because problem solving, a lot of people in their jobs don't have to do, but artists are required to.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think, seeing art being taken a little more, being taken into consideration a little more in our community, I think is nice and probably empowering for local artists, with projects coming up like, the Signal Box.
Yes.
Project.
That started that one.
Did you?
Yes.
Tell us really quickly about that before we get a break.
So we're going to be wrapping, or the Public Art Committee is going to be wrapping Signal Boxes, bringing local public art into public spaces it's very easy, right? It's an easy art. You can come in, you can drive by and see it. You can take that investigation further and go and look and find these artists. I think the Public Art Committee is going to start off with, 4 boxes. The town is in control of, 12 total. So those will last about 7 years.
Wow. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about that. Thank you so much. We're going to be back after the break with I Heart Mooresville after these messages.
We'll be right back with more I Heart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
A warm and mostly dry for our Tuesday as temperatures climb up to around 80 this afternoon with extra clouds. Heading into tonight, though, we'll have to watch the weather a little closer. A few scattered showers, maybe even a strong or severe thunderstorm possible. It could produce a damaging wind gust and will even have the low risk of a tornado to keep an eye on through at least midday Wednesday. Then we're clearing it out by Thursday, much cooler and breezy with high temperatures only in the upper 50s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. This Friday, come enjoy Birkdale's first Live Under the Oaks concert for 2024. Danny Carr and the Skeleton Crew will break in the Birkdale stage for the concert season. Bring your lawn chairs to Huntersville and come early. Music powered by Waves Entertainment begins at 6 p.m. Come out and have an amazing time in Mooresville with a weekend doubleheader. On Friday, Uncorked and Artsy returns from 5:30 to 9 p.m. featuring wine and craft beer tastings and an art walk display. Then Saturday marks the beginning of the 2024 Festival of Food Truck Series. Information is available at downtownmooresville.com. The Kane Center for the Arts hosts 4 big shows in 3 days. Thursday, April 11th, sees singer and guitarist Joni Shaw Taylor performing. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show begins at 8 p.m. Friday, April 12th, 80s music icon John Oates performs. Doors also open at 7 p.m. with the show beginning at 8 p.m. On Saturday, April 13th, comedian Jeff Allen delivers laughs at a 4 p.m. matinee and then again at 8 p.m. Saturday night. For more information on these shows and many other programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Merle Fest is back April 25th through 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen every morning to Good Morning LKN and follow WSIC News on Instagram for your chance to win tickets. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Make radio great again.
Hey, WSIC, this is Todd Starnes. The Make Radio Great Again tour is stopping in Statesville on May 24th.
It's gonna hit the shame.
Join me for a book signing and meet and greet.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. Sign up to meet Todd Starnes now at WSICnews.com/Todd.
Come visit with us on May 24th at the WSIC studio in Statesville.
I Heart Mooresville. Ooh, we should put that on a t-shirt. Sorry, New York. 105.9, 100.7, WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to this outrageous edition of I Heart Mooresville here on WSIC. We are having a really great discussion with Maria Campagne, who is the award-winning resident artist for the Mooresville Parks and Recreation Department. We kind of went to break, and we were talking about one of the current art projects, which you actually initiated, which is the Signal Box program. So kind of finish that thought about what that program is and what people can expect to see.
Oh, so signal boxes are those gray boxes that are at traffic intersections. And they're really just kind of bland.
Ugly?
Yeah, kind of bland. I mean, there's
Right.
really not much to them. So towns across the United States have been starting to use vinyl wraps to wrap around them. We decided to go ahead with this project about a year ago with the Public Art Committee, which I'm no longer a member of, but I was on it for a couple of years. And so in wrapping that, we get artists to present some designs, whatever it is that they're presenting. It could be a photograph, it could be two-dimensional art, it could be a sculpture that's been photographed, any of those kind of things. And then we get them printed on vinyl wrap and wrap the signal boxes.
So I would assume that town employees are not eligible for submission.
No, town employees
Darn
are
it.
not eligible for
I
submission.
have some photographs I'd love to submit for
Yes.
this project. When we were coming back to break, I mentioned outrageous, and I actually did that on purpose for those listening, because it's actually the name of your art program. So tell us about Outrageous and what it is, where it's located, what is the program about?
Okay, Outrageous is for children, for homeschool kids, actually. And so we meet during the day. Right now we're meeting on Thursdays. That tends to shift depending on my personal schedule and the schedule of everything else going on. But what it is a way for us to have a real art class for homeschool students. Excuse me.
Nice.
And we go through everything from color composition, color theory, and composition. This time we're working on painting. We actually just made paper last week. So
Oh, wow.
So I have here that the classes run from May 2nd through May 30th.
the next session, yes.
Yes, session. Thursdays from noon to 1.
Yes.
At the Selma Burke Recreation Center.
Yes.
Ages 7 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty much every child's dream and every parent's dream, certainly, to get their kids involved in art in a place like that. So if you are interested, then go to mooresvillerecreation.org, and I assume there's space available.
Yeah, as of right now, yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me like this is something you definitely need to sign up for soon.
Yeah, we do limit the number of kids in class, and I think I have 7 already in it.
Okay. Well, that means that it is a hands-on, hyper-focused approach, which is great for children. So we would encourage you to do that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things going on, because there's some programs that are coming up that are kind of important. Summer specialty camps, which obviously is a big part of any community, summer camps. Our registration opens on Monday, and these are to increase your skills or try something new within the Mooresville Parks and Recreation Department. So there are numerous opportunities to learn a new sport, explore creativity at specialty camps. Parents can register for swim lessons, as well as other programs within the specialty camp offerings. You can go to mooresvillerecreation.org and click on the left nav bar for summer camps, or you can go to the Rec Admin office at 750 West Iredell Avenue. So that's going on. The Mooresville Golf Club, big shout out to our friend Luke Stemke and his staff over at the award-winning Mooresville Golf Club. They are hosting their 2024 Iredell Invitational, and we started the show talking about the weather. This is golf weather, and I know everybody who's a golfer is just jonesing to get out and hit that ball. So the 2024 Iredell Invitational 4-Ball Championship is a month away. So it's a 2-day, 36-hole, 4-ball stroke play event. No handicaps given. And it's open to the public. And if you're interested, reach out to, let me say the dates first. It's April 20th and 21st. So mark your calendars. And you can learn more by reaching out to the Mooresville Golf Club and talking to Luke, or emailing him at lstemke, that's lsteimke, at mooresvillenc.gov. But it sounds to me like it's probably going to fill up pretty quickly, because we have a pretty rabid golf community here in Mooresville. And of course, a lot of that is a tribute to Luke and what they do over at the Mooresville Golf Club. So,
where you'll also find some public art.
Really? What can people expect on the public art
on
side?
the Nines in their restaurant.
Okay.
There is a piece of art there.
Well, big shout out to On the Nines for repping the art community. So what do you have going on in your world, Christine?
Well, lots going on in the performing arts and events side of things.
I see what you did there.
So Uncorked and Artsy is coming up on April 5th. That's obviously an event put on by the Mooresville Downtown Commission. They have a great lineup of events throughout the year. Springtime is event time, and so we have a lots happening over the next couple months. Next would be April 6th. So the day after Uncorked and Artsy is Festival of the Food Trucks. So basically, this weekend, it's happening downtown. You got Uncorked and Artsy on Friday the 5th, and then the 6th, Saturday, Festival of the Food Trucks.
So Festival of the Food Trucks sounds like a march that you would hear from like a musical piece,
Right.
Festival
Right.
of the Food Truck.
It is. They just come marching in. The trucks come marching in, all down on Main Street. Then we have an opportunity. The Spring Mosaic Community Festival. So an opportunity at Liberty Park is where the event will take place from 12 to 5 on April 13th. An opportunity to see different cultures. I mean, they're going to have performances all throughout the afternoon, from different countries. They'll have vendors there that'll have food from different countries. So it'll be a great opportunity to try something new. I think that, kind of expose yourself to something that you may not
Let's go back to
normally
the
see.
food trucks because between the discussion about that, the peanut butter, and some other things, I have to tell you, I'm hungry.
I know.
So
I
I'm
know.
looking forward to lunch today.
All we do is talk about food, right?
Well, all you
Especially when
do
I'm
is-
in the room.
All you do is eat food.
Yes.
This is a joke, a running joke I have with Christine, because if you know, in the office, I rarely see her when she's not eating, and she's thin.
I'm a
which
growing
blows me
girl.
away.
I'm a
Yeah.
growing girl. Okay.
But you work it off. You work it off because you are an active person.
Okay. Then always Loretta. I know we've talked about this a little bit. April 13th is your last chance to get the last few tickets that are left. Remember, this is Loretta Lynn's original band, the Coal Miners, fronted by Emily Portman. Looks like Loretta, sounds like Loretta. It's an amazing show, and that is at the Jovi Knox Auditorium, April 13th. Tickets can be purchased at ourtownstage.com. To get the last few of those, I repeat. Then a couple other things coming up. Of course, we rescheduled, had to postpone the annual Mooresville Day Festival due to weather. It was supposed to take place on March 23rd, but will now take place on April 27th. We are going to have the same level of event, nothing different, but same event on April 27th. You should come out to enjoy 23, I think, food trucks. All the breweries in Mooresville, every brewery in Mooresville will be there. Even the new one that you all probably haven't seen yet from High Branch Brewery will be there. First look, we'll have train rides, inflatables, street performers. We'll have carnival rides, carnival games, live performances at the stage all day.
And shopping opportunities.
And an artisan market, which is the huge thing that we're adding. So we're talking about art today. So a lot of the artisans from our local art community will be there at this artisan market, 65 plus vendors. So really a very well-rounded experience. There's something for everyone. So join us April 27th, downtown Mooresville on Main and Broad Street from 12 to 4.
Yeah, there is no excuse not to go because we have been told by a higher source that the weather is going to be phenomenal.
That's right. It's going to be a beautiful day.
So
beautiful.
Be there.
Next up, we are kicking off Rock the Park on May 3rd.
Rock it. I love it.
I know. It's one of our favorite things we do. So we have a really great variety of different genres. So you can join us the first Friday of every month, except for July because of the 4th. It's on the 12th. That's the second Friday. And then you can catch a car show if you like classic cars. You can actually catch that the 4th Saturday of every month from April to December at Merino Mills on Main Street from 8 to 11.
Yeah, that thing has gotten huge.
Yeah, it's growing.
It's amazing. And who doesn't like a classic car? I mean, come on, they're beautiful. They are works of art.
Yeah, they
those
are.
those that's what I love about the older cars is they were works of art. And you know the lines and the way that they created those cars. I don't see that today, and don't hashtag me in with hate about that. I personally just prefer the vintage cars; they just had character. One of the last things I want to mention is that April 3rd is National Walking Day, but every day is National Walking Day. It should be, specifically when you have 17 parks available within a short distance from your home in Mooresville. Ding, 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 ring the bell. And just so you know, there are several that I'd like to highlight. So Bellingham Park has a 1-mile trail. Cornelius Road has a 1-mile trail. Liberty Park actually has a 1/4-mile trail. And there is a 2-mile track at Mazeppa Park. So plenty of time to get out. Maria, thank you for coming today. This has been an amazing discussion. And again, if you want to participate in art classes, please go to mooresvillerecreation.org to learn more. I want to thank our lovely co-host, Christine Patterson, and for everyone for listening. And we hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you and talk to you soon here on WSIC. I Heart Mooresville. Have a great week.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9